So let's continue with the second episode. Right now we're on the second day, so people must have already died. What is that sound that always fills my ears? Is it the sound of the rain? The sound of a waterfall? Or could it be a radio static? If not, I want it to be the sound of blood flowing through my body. Wow. I want it to be the sound of the blood circulating throughout me, telling me that I am still alive. Oh, it's Kinzo. Yeah, only he and Kanon would be such drama queens. At least Kanon is better than you. Light entering through a crack in the curtain was faint. Liz told him the dawn had broken, so Kinzo still alive. Kinzo still in the position he'd been when he woke up, still sitting in a chair and looking up at the ceiling, but the blood slowly traveled throughout his body. Judging by the clock, it was early in the morning, 6 on the dot. I guess all the siblings are now dead. No matter how tired he was, no matter how deeply he slept, he always woke up at exactly this time, as though he had measured it with an hourglass. He didn't think this as something to boast about, but he told himself that as long as he could still manage this, his health couldn't be that bad. You survived the first night.
最初の生贄は逃れたということらしい。ルーレットの目が幸運だったのか、我が努力の賜物なのか、区別のつかぬところが何とももどかしいが、それは言うまい。
I think Kinzo, last episode I theorized that Kinzo who had survived was a fake one, but I don't know if that's true anymore. Nevertheless, he was burned to death. Or maybe not. Kinzo was struck by a faint desire to see beyond the study door. After all, he might find the traces of someone's vain struggle to break through the door. A sign that someone had tried to select him as one of the first 6 sacrifices.
人間とは安っぽい生き物だな。人事を尽くして天命を待ちながら幸運を得られた時にはそれが単なる幸運ではなく己の技量によるものだったとうぬぼれたくもなる。
That was why he wanted to check whether there was a wretched mark on that door. The very desire was human. That was why Kinzo did not check. He often rejected desires that came to him because he was human. By doing that, he could be immersed in a feeling of sufficiency, as though he himself became a being that surpassed humans. He recognized human desires for what they were and guarded against them. Things that a human would want to do, he resisted. His eccentricity and rebellious nature had surely given him a rare genius, making it possible for him to succeed in his exploits, as he revived the Ushurumiya family in a single generation.
さて、ベアトリーチ、お前が取った6つの駒は何なのか?
All your sons, all your daughters and their husbands and wives.
そして次なる手はどう来るのか楽しませてもらうぞ。私の守りは完璧だ。前回のような無様はさらさぬぞ。
Oh. So he has memories from the last episode, maybe? That's strange. The servants woke early. They had to open the curtains, prepare breakfast, and complete various other tasks to welcome the guests to a new day. So let's see who survives. Oh my god, Gohda. Gohda survived this time. Gohda was the most enthusiastic. During the family conference, he had been told to concentrate his efforts, especially on cooking, and he had been specifically exempted from several tasks that the servants normally must do. Gohda was a show-off. Seemed to be feeling particularly superior because of that. Let Genji and the rest prepare the rest of the mansion and worked on making breakfast in the kitchen. Genji, returning again for episode 2, still alive. Genji split work with shounen and Kanon, and they carried out various tasks. Shounen, still alive. Shounen headed to the dining hall and knocked. Last year, the family conference had continued into the early hours of the morning, and Kanon as also mentioned by Genji. It wouldn't have been odd if this year's conference had done the same. Considering the possibility that they were still having a discussion inside, she knocked. There was no response, so she opened the door and said good morning. And there goes to be blood and the floor. Again? Maybe not. The room was cold. The conference seemed to have ended a long time before. There was a tea set on the table from which they'd probably been drinking, arranged in a way that would make it easy to clean up. Cleaning up the tea was the servant's job. The family members were extra generous and cleaned it up themselves. The servants would lose face. So it was truly a pleasant act of kindness for the family to only do this much. As she approached the table to clean it up, she noticed something like a memo that had been left near the utensils and cups. Oh, it's going to be the letter? Since it was right next to the tea set, Shounen picked it up, naturally thinking it was a memo for the servants doing the cleaning. Written there was not a request, nor was it thanks to the preparation of the tea. It was just a single word. Ooh. Shounen looked at it blankly and read it out loud. I mean, Shounen knows of how the killings are going to go. Kanon as well. Oh, yeah. Last episode they were in a place. I didn't know where they were actually. I thought it was a... Do you have like an underground chapel or something? Or maybe... A small sound kept repeating over and over. Normally, that sound would have been too trivial to be worth caring about. If only I could stop hearing it soon, I could go back to sleep right away, she thought vaguely. No matter how much time passed, the sound did not end. Repeated over and over. Ah, shut up. Who is it? Banging on the door this whole time. As soon as she realized that, she woke up. Oh, it's Jessica, I think. Someone was knocking. Then she noticed it wasn't just a knock, but a voice as well.
Rosa-sama. Rosa-sama.
What the fuck? What? Oh. Oh, no way. So if Rosa didn't die, then who the fuck died? It had been Genji's voice. Look at the clock, it wasn't even 7 yet. It was clearly too early to wake the guests. Did something happen that was bad enough to cause this? She felt her sleepiness increasingly fade thanks to this premonition of misfortune. Though Genji was a servant, Rosa had known him since her childhood days, so even though she was slightly defenseless in her pajamas, she opened the door a crack and answered. She's not like...
おはようございます。早朝から申し訳ございません。何かあったの？はい、実は礼拝堂に。
Where is this chapel? Genji whispered something into Rosa's ears. For a second, it seemed Rosa couldn't understand what she had been told. After having it repeated several times, she realized that apparently something strange had happened. Rosa closed the door for a second, changed her clothes quickly, and followed Genji towards the mansion. Still raining. Chapel requires some explanation. Yeah. Chapel requires some explanation. Yeah, I'm waiting for it. It wasn't in the mansion, but in a grove behind it, a short walk's distance away. Had been built at the same time as the mansion, so I thought. So, though its walls had been repaired many times, making it look like new from the outside, it was a very old building. Rosa dashed through the rain along with Genji. Just like the previous night, the rain was falling in earnest. Eventually, wow, so another building. Eventually, the chapel came into sight beyond the thin grove. Just looking at it from the outside, it seemed a place of dazzling beauty, where a pair of young lovers might want to get married. However, Kinzo apparently viewed it as a very sacred place. So Rosa and her siblings had been given strict instructions not to approach it unnecessarily. Even though they were all grown up now, approaching the chapel for any reason would still make them feel guilty. And also afraid, as if their father might get angry and hit them in the face. So I have to ask Rosa. She was there last night. What the fuck is happening? She was there with the other siblings last night, here. Servants' silhouettes could be seen in front of the chapel's entrance. Where's Kumasawa? Is she dead? Gohda, shounen, and Kanon. Yep, probably dead. Which meant that all of the servants on the morning shift had gathered. Nanjo is still up in the air. A short while ago, Genji had spoken to Rosa, telling her what the situation was. However, without laying eyes on it directly, she definitely hadn't been able to understand. It was probably the same for all the servants gathered here as well. Without seeing it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. The first symbol. Yep. But why did they come here in the first place to verify? That doesn't make sense. Did Kanon go to the chapel last episode before going to the shed to verify if they were there? Nah, this is confusing. On the door at the entrance to the chapel, it makes no sense because Rosa was there last night. Either she's the... There are going to be dead bodies inside. I know that. It's going to be... It's quite apropos, I guess. It's quite... But still, Rosa was there last night. Was something... On the door at the entrance to the chapel was something very large, drawn with a creepy, stringy paint that made one think of blood. Something like a creepy magic circle. So there's going to be dead bodies inside the chapel because the siblings were there last night. And Rosa, I remember Rosa being there. Hell's Halls.
何よこれいつ書かれたの
The servants looked at each other. Gohda was the first to open his mouth.
申し訳ございません。普段はここへは立ち入りませんもので、いつ書かれたのかはわかりません。
じゃあ最初に見つけたのは誰？はい、私です。食堂へお茶の道具の片付けに行きましたら、礼拝堂と書かれたメモがあったもので。
I completely forgot. I completely forgot that. Okay, I had a brain fart. But so that's why the chapel wasn't mentioned last episode. Shannon held out the memo with a shaking hand.
誰の字？
兄さんや姉さんの字ではないわね。それであなたはここへ来てこれを見つけたのね。
はい。
So,
これを。何？ハッピーハロウィン for
Kanon pointed a single line of English written below the creepy magic circle. Until it had been pointed out to her, she thought it just been another part of a magic circle. There, the following words were written in English. Happy Halloween for Maria. Oh, wow. Happy Halloween for Maria. This creepy magic circle was for Maria. Happy Halloween. Yesterday, only one person had said Happy Halloween to Maria. The key phrase matched. It was the Golden Witch, Beatrice.
マリアは？あの子、いとこたちと一緒に寝てるはずよね。確認した。
申し訳ございません。マリア様のお名前が書かれていたことには今気づきましたもので。
Oh, I thought Genji was going to reveal that the cousins weren't there. Imagine if the cousins die at first, and then all the adults are still alive. That would be quite the episode, I guess. But I don't think
まだ確
so.
認しておりません。至急。
何やってんのよ。
Ooh.
私はマリアの様子を見てきます。それからクラウス兄さんたちにも知らせて、以後の対応の指示を受けて。
After saying that much, Rosa finally noticed something was odd. Her own rank in this family conference was the lowest of the four siblings. Why had she been the only one called during an abnormal situation like this? The other siblings hadn't been. Even if Maria's name had popped up.
まさか。
はい、旦那様にご連絡申し上げようとしたのですが、お姿が見当たらず。
奥様もお部屋におられません。シーツの様子からすると、昨夜はベッドに戻られていないのかもしれません。
Maria didn't give the scorpion charm this time, I guess. Rosa felt something creepy crawling slowly up her back. So
礼拝堂の中は確認した。い
え、まだです。確認しようとはしたのですが。
実は礼拝堂の鍵は特別でマスターキーに対応しておりません。
all this is making me suspect Rosa.
一本だけある鍵でしか開けられないのですが。
She didn't want to get closer to the door with that creepy magic circle. If she could, Rosa readied herself and approached and tried pushing and pulling the knob. All she felt was resistance of the sturdy lock.
入れる窓などがないか探してはみたのですが、もし中を確認するのでしたら窓を破らなければならないかと思います。いかがいたしましょう。
そんな許可私に出せるわけがないわ。お父様の大切な礼拝堂なのよ。
Let me rewind that.
そんな許可私に出せるわけがないわ。お父様の大切な礼拝堂なのよ。そんなことできないわよ。
At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. That's right, when I met that witch at the Rose Garden, she handed Maria an envelope. Yeah, that's no mistake, she did hand it over. Maria tried to open it, but she told her not to do it yet, and then she surely said, "Time to open that will come soon." Rosa was sure. There could be no mistake. This is the envelope that Maria had received. The envelope Maria had received was... Rosa, you were in the chapel last night. Only you could have locked. You or the culprit. And I'm thinking that you are the culprit. Right now. After dashing back to the guest house, Rosa approached the cousins' rooms, while hiding her footsteps, softly opened the door and peered inside. From the inside, she could hear the healthy snores typical of young people. There were 4 children. Maria was there, sleeping soundly. After breathing a sigh of relief, she entered the room with quiet footsteps. She was after Maria's handbag, which was resting on the sofa. Maria always liked carrying her treasures around with her. She was probably emulating. Her mother always carried her makeup with her. Of course, she was just imitating her mother, so everything on the inside was junk. Maria's case was full of small, creepy, occult items, notebooks describing things of that nature, and so on. Rosa had never been happy to see her daughter walking around with things like that, which weren't girlish at all. However, trying to force Maria to stop that had resulted in a big fight, so she decided to let it be. Rosa, you had the other letter. What happened to it? Rosa. There's 2 envelopes this time. At the start, I guess. Western envelope with the crest of the gold eagle. When she took it out of the bag, she realized there was a heavy, vaguely cylindrical object inside. She could tell by its feet and its weight. There was no doubt. This was a key. After turning around and checking Maria was still sound asleep, Rosa tore open the envelope and the contents spilled out into her palm. It was a key with an old and intricate design. Rosa gripped that key and dashed out. Adler seemed to have noticed that sound, but after grumbling and turning over in his sleep, he started snoring again.
Genji-san, この鍵、ひょっとして礼拝堂の鍵ということは?
Things are not making sense.
これをどこで? はい。これが礼拝堂の鍵です。
Rosa approached the creepy magic circle once again and put the key inside the keyhole. There was a strong resistance. After it resisted for a short while, it stopped resisting with a clunk. Then, squeaking with a noise that hurt one's ears, it slowly began to open. Her voice reverberated throughout the massive room. Of course, there was no answer. Bodies found. Maybe. The chapel had a high ceiling, and the air was cold. Ooh, imagine if the bodies are scattered around in the chapel seats, like all in a prayer. Oh, that would be creepy. And even on this rainy, unsettling day, it felt sacred for some reason. The servants timidly followed after Rosa.
Rosa-sama, あれを.
Kanon noticed it immediately and pointed. Over there was the altar, the place that would normally have a pastor preaching of God's love. It was a table that shouldn't have been there. At first, it looked like the dining table. There actually were gorgeous plates and utensils placed there, making it look like a child's birthday party or something. Upon close inspection, the surrounding area had been decorated with pumpkins and black and orange ribbons. They were probably Halloween decorations. And there were people seated at the table. 3 people on each side facing each other, seated in chairs. They could be recognized at glance. Cross and his wife. Ooh, Nazi's dead. Ava is dead, and her husband. Rudolph and Kyrie are dead as well. Oh no, again, Rudolph. No. But if you wanted to be sure, you'd still have to go even closer and check. Man, poor Rudolph killed twice in a row. Because they seemed almost like dolls. Rosa and the rest had opened the doors. Entered all at once with the sound of many footsteps and called out, asking if anyone was there. And yet there had been no reaction. Even if Rosa and the rest assumed they were being ignored, you'd still expect there to be some kind of reaction. And there hadn't been even that. I can't read this. And there hadn't even been that. So at first, it felt like someone had set down some dolls that greatly resembled those people. By now, it wasn't just Rosa, Shannon and Kanon, and even Gohda. They were all fighting frantically with the creepy emotion that grasped their hearts. Genji is here as well.
兄さん、さん。
As she walked towards the altar, she called out again. There was still no reaction. Yes, by now, Rosa was sure of it. She was sure these weren't dolls, the people themselves.
これは
They grew close enough to see clearly what lay on the table. It still looked like an adorable banquet, reminiscent of a child's birthday party. Plates piled up with sweets, cute pictures with drinks, all kinds of pumpkin-shaped ornaments. Were all decorated in a Halloween style. And while this probably wasn't the time to be thinking it, Maria would surely have been delighted to see all this. That was the state of the table they sat in front of, apparently asleep. It was an eerie scene, as though a small fun-loving Halloween party had been stopped in time.
兄さんたち、寝てるの？
No, they were not. When she approached even closer to them, she realized that there were snacks scattered all over the floor. Candies, cookies, sodas, and chocolates, all with heavily fantasy-themed packaging. They were all scattered across a carpet, covered with blackberry and cranberry jam. Oh, man, the music scared the fuck out of me. Rosa and the rest finally realized what the situation was. It was a Halloween party. Banquet for those not of this world. Cross, Nazi, Ava, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Kyrie were seated in chairs, apparently asleep, but all dead. So, I thought that Rosa would die as well, but apparently she was a seventh person, so she didn't count. She still was here last night. It's still weird. How could you tell that they were dead and not simply sleeping? That was because they'd been vertically sliced open from their chests to their stomachs.
なんて無謀い
The six of them had sat down at a Halloween party before having their stomachs split open, killing them. Then the jam covering the floor must have been what overflowed from their stomach once they stuffed themselves completely, right? No. Contents of their stomachs had been scattered all over the floor. And that wasn't all. Out of their stomachs. It was almost as though they poured out. As though snacks have overflowed from there. Whoa. Ooh. Candies and cookies, soda and chocolate, poured out, stained with blood, and had scattered across the floor. What could have happened to cause this? Ooh. Oh, so basically they were sliced, their stomachs removed, and then stuffed with candies. Wow. That's fucked up. It's almost as though it's almost as though their stomachs were stuffed full to bursting with sweets, and it all poured out when their stomachs split open. Nah, it's the this feels much more like a slasher film than a mystery right now. Rosa remembered a certain shocking meal, a turkey that had been served at her own birthday. When it had been cut open with a knife, outflowed one of her favorite foods. Since she hadn't been told what was inside, the red ketchup omelette rice poured out like a bloody maggot. Ooh. Oh, the imagery is so bad. Pulsing, dripping, slimy, pulpy, squelching. Yeah, all those adjectives. Ooh. Trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt a monster raging inside her stomach as acid started to rise. Unable to hold back, she threw it all up on the floor. Her empty stomach had nothing but stomach acid. The scene in front of her was no fun Halloween party now. The three couples were enshrined right there, their stomachs vertically wrenched open with a So many snacks have been stuffed in there, pulpy, squishy. Blood and guts and sweets were overflowing onto the floor. Blood-stained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet snacks that made your fingers stick together. Gummy. But stained with entrails, sloppy, pulpy. What was that I was stepped on just now? That didn't feel like a candy or a cookie or soda or chocolate. I'm scared. What did I step on? I can't even look at the bottom of my foot. I can't. What a gruesome Halloween party. From far away, it looked like truly beautiful, fantastical, and fun. From up close, it was horrible, disgusting, and yet somehow still beautiful. As I said before, I think Rosa has a case of a split personality, I think. Rosa's wild thoughts tried as best as they could to escape her throat with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar.
旦那様。
なのってひどい。
救急車、警察。
そうよ。警察。
If a word so tied to reality hadn't come out of Gohda's mouth, Rosa and the rest would probably have found themselves unable to escape this nightmarish party even now. But it wasn't because they thought the police might be able to do something. If they didn't keep yelling about the police, it felt as though another seat might be set up at this demon's party and given to them. Wow. Their own chests felt like they were expanding unpleasantly from the inside. Rumbling, churning, and it was surely because the candy was about to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa, was again tortured by a desire to vomit, threw her stomach acid up to the floor, and then she searched to see if there was any candy in it. Wow. Wow. Beatrice one-upped herself from last episode, I guess. Rosa coughed violently again, forcibly spitting out the stomach acid that had been burning in her throat. She realized that by now, her whole body had been covered in a filthy sweat.
源氏さんとシャナンちゃんはお父様に連絡して指示を仰いでちょうだい。ゴーダさんはカノン君と一緒に行って警察に電話を。あとナジョ先生に来てもらう。
Why even bring Dr. Nanjo here? It's a bit too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again stared at her siblings, with whom she spent a good times and bad times, and their partners. Though there could be nothing more tragic than this scene. For some reason, she was tempted to describe these fantastical deaths as beautiful. Come on, what am I saying? I've been suspecting Rosa all this time. Maybe she has like a split personality, and that personality is the culprit. Beatrice, or... She was there in the chapel. I won't forget that she was there in the chapel last night.
"弱ったね、バトラ君。本当にローザおばさんだったのかい?"
まあ俺も寝ぼけてたから自信はねえんだが、明け方にローザおばさんが入ってきてマリアの手提げカバンを漁ってるような気がしたんだよ。俺はてっきりマリアの手提げに歯磨きのチューブでも入ってるんじゃないかなんて思って寝ぼけてて。
なんで歯磨きのチューブがマリアの手提げに入ってるんだよ。寝ぼけて夢でも見たに決まってんぜ。
Butler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. Also, when Maria woke up before the rest of them, she started rampaging around, saying that someone had opened the envelope she'd been keeping safe. Putting two and two together, they figured that Rosa would probably come and open the envelope.
黄金の魔女様の封筒か。中に何が入ってたんだろ
う。わからないね。でもあの封筒はおじい様が新書に使う後宮家の家紋の入ったものだった。親族会議と無関係なものが入っていたとは考えがたいね。
She hadn't let anyone touch it, but yesterday Maria had shown that envelope off to Butler and the rest a whole lot. So they remembered it well. It's okay, it's okay.
ジョージの兄貴の言う通りだ。相当重要なものらしいが、しかしそんな大事なものをどうして魔女様はマリアに渡したんだろうな。
Why indeed?
さっぱりだぜ。
Sorry, I had to sneeze. Every once in a while, the refreshing morning atmosphere was completely wiped out by the sound of the thunder. It was only natural. Since the morning they woke up, they hadn't met anyone else. It felt as though they were the only ones left, as if the mansion had become an empty husk.
Oi! 誰かいないか? 返事してくれよ!
Jessica called out into the hallway, and eventually an answer came back. It came from the entrance hall.
聞こえますとも。 何かありましたか？
南條先生だ。よかった。この島から僕たち以外が消えてしまったわけではないようだよ。
南條先生、おはようございます。すみませんが、うちの親たちとかどこに行ったか知りませんか？
Ooh, Jessica is going to freak out. This time, Natsuhi's dead as well. Wow.
はて、私も今起きてこちらに来たばかりですから。
Man, Battler doesn't catch a break. Both of his parents are completely dead in both episodes. Completely, not entirely. Not entirely. Maybe they're faking their deaths. Maybe.
わかりかねますが、さて。
I'm still holding on to Rudolph being the culprit theory I had from the first. It was only natural. Nanja was a guest just like the rest of them. He'd come now to pass the time in the parlor until breakfast. At least Rudolph was one of the possible culprits from last episode. My theory was that all the siblings were conspiring to kill Cross, and then one of them was conspiring to kill the rest of them. So multiple culprits with one final culprit wanting to kill everyone else. Well, that's me explaining in human terms. Guess Beatrice is going to speak. Oh no, I killed them. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's plump stomach, sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered by this ruckus so early in the morning.
誰かかけてくるぜ。ジェシカ、誰か来るぞ。
From down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. They saw Gohda and Kanon coming towards them. Normally, it would be disgraceful for someone to run inside the mansion. And yet, Battler and the rest didn't even think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable, they wanted to ask someone, anyone, where Rosa was. The two servants seemed to have bigger things on their minds than Jessica, who was waving at them. Gohda flew into the servants' room, and when Kanon noticed that Nanjo was there, he bowed and approached the doctor at a quick pace before whispering something into his ear.
何ですって？ローザさんが。
はい、ご案内いたしますので、どうかご同行お願いいたします。
わかりました。
こちらへ。
Without saying anything more than that, Kanon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back towards the corridor by which he had come, followed by Nanjo. By looking at how hurried they were, Battler and the rest realized that yes, something bad really had happened. They saw Gohda through the door to the servants' room, which had been flung open, was holding the receiver and violently pressing the hook. From that, they realized that he was trying to call the hospital or the police. In any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred.
行ってみようぜ。
ママ、返して。マリアの手紙返して。それは黄金鏡への招待状なの。
Ooh. Maria's not going to be happy this episode. They didn't know what, but something was happening. Battler and the rest chased after Kanon and Nanjo, because Maria did everything as the culprit wanted last episode. She was willfully manipulated and forced to act that way last episode. And now, her precious letter has been taken from her. Her position in the Golden Land now seems a little bit shaky at best. And then we realized Kanon had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us. So I shouldn't have gone with them. I wonder if Alice regretted her excess curiosity when when she chased after the rabbit, holding a clock. So Ava and Hideyoshi are dead as well. They were alive last episode.
入っちゃダメ。見ちゃダメ。ジェシカちゃん、ダメ。
母さん、父さん、何があったのなんだよこりゃ。趣味が悪いにも程があるじゃねえかよ。
Ooh, Beatrice is going to love your tears, Battler.
命を奪うならそれで十分こと足りただろうがよ。
No.
なんだよこりゃ。
Beatrice wants you and Kanon to suffer. Come on, should have
わ
realized
ざわざ
this.
殺した後に椅子に座らせて腹裂いて歌詞をわざわざ中に詰め込んだってのかよ。
This is all theatrics. Come on, Battler. You...
なんだってなんだってそんな悪趣味なことをしやがるんだよ。チキショウやってくれやがるぜ。最高だよ最高だよ。
That's the perfect reaction. Now just show that to Beatrice and she's going to...
皆さんは外へ出られた方がいい。こんな姿を皆さんに見せたいなどと彼らが思うわけがありません。
Anjo told the children to go outside, but no one listened.
ローザさん、皆さんに言ってください。こんなもの見続けてはどこになる。
Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have realized that the children would eventually come here. Oh man, this music is so good. I can't focus, I'm just... Oh man, this is so good. She should have quickly locked up instead of standing around stunned. Oh man. So the children had come here. They had seen it. Surely, at this very moment, they were having a sight burn into their eyes. It was far more grotesque than the shocking meal Rosa had witnessed in her youth. While she hugged Maria, seemed to be too shocked to show any emotion at this gruesome scene. Rosa cried for them and their parents. The four groaning and crying voices, their sadness, continued to echo in a place that should have known God's love.
クソ野郎がまたかよ。またこんな殺人を。しかも今度もやたらと凝った最高にふざけた殺し方をしやがって。
Oh man, Beatrice is enjoying this. She doesn't care about how she kills them. She cares about the reactions later on. That's her character.
わらわはそんな嘆きより感謝の言葉が聞きたかったぞ。
感謝と言ったかこのクソババア。てめえ耳がいかれてやがるってんなら俺が両の耳を引き裂いてよく聞こえるようにしてやるぜ。
Oh, Battler. Wow.
なんで俺がこの最高にいかれた殺し方にありがとうございますベアトリーチェ様なんて言わなければならねえんだ。ぶっ殺してやる。
Oh, yes.
前回のゲームで
What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god, look at that face. Oh my god. Oh wow. Oh, that's so creepy. It's like cartoonishly evil face. Wow. It's like, wow.
お前は自分の親の死に顔が見られないと嘆いたな。 だから残したぞ。しっかり残した。よく拝んでおけ。間違いなく父親たちが殺されたことを。
Oh, so you can't go with the someone. The culprits couldn't have. I lost my train of thought.
そうかよ。そいつはサービス満点だぜ。気に入った。
So basically, she says that the culprit can't be one of them.
俺はてめえの息の根を止めたら顔面耕してやろうと誓ってたが、そいつは取り消してやるぜ。てめえの腹渡を引きずり出してやる。
You can do both. Why no los dos?
感情に任せて思考を止めるな。
What are these faces? Wow, that's frankly. Wow.
すでにわらわのゲームは始まっておるのだぞ。わらわは今回は綺麗に死体を残すことに決めた。なぜだかわかるか？
Because
前回のゲームでそなたがわらわの存在を否定するとき、こう考えて否定したであろう。それは顔面が潰され遺体の身元が確認できない。だから身代わりの死体を用意してアリバイを作った可能性が否定できない。
yeah.
その可能性が排除できない限り人間犯人説は維持できる。
But even if the culprit isn't one of them, it still can be construed as Rosa killing them.
なんだと？
さあバトラー、南條に検視を任せてよいのか？ミステリーの古典では検視の医者がグルというのが伝統なのだろう。
Beatrice, what the fuck? You're attacking me? No. Oh no way. She's I feel so attacked right now.
なら南條に検視を任せるな。
What are
そなた
these
が自らす
faces?
るがよい。間違いなく6人の死体が当人で、死んだふりなどでなく本当に死んでいることを十分に確認するがいい。お前の父親が母親が腹を裂かれて臓物を引きずり出されて殺されていることを腹に手を入れてその手触りで確認するがいい。
Oh. There's like this giggling sound that plays whenever she's laughing. It's so creepy. Sometimes.
泣かねえ。ちくしょう、ちくしょう。泣かねえぞ俺は。
Butler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being a sissy. He slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze in both his eyes.
これだけの上等を決めやがった野郎に借りはがっちり返させていただくぜ。なら泣く時じゃねえ。自分のすべきことを考えろ。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。涙を流す暇があったら考えろ。涙腺なんかひるませる時じゃねえ。
Rather than genuine anger, maybe it was more like an invasive anger to blot out his sadness. However, it gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who'd been crushed by the sadness.
そうだね。僕たちが泣いても起こってしまった現実は変わらない。
じゃあどうすりゃいいんだ。私は父さんと母さんのために何をすればいいんだよ。
Chokeslam Rosa.
戻りました。
ゴーダさん、警察はどうでしたか？対応の指示はいつ頃来られそうだと言っていましたか？
それが 電話が故障のようでして、
More sabotage.
非常用の無線機も試してはみたのですが、その天候のせいでしょうか、こちらも通じず。
なんですって。じゃあ警察に連絡がつかないということなの？あいつだ。あいつが電話線とかに採掘して警察に電話ができないようにしたんだ。
When she heard that the phones had been broken down, Jessica immediately decided it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying. They began to grow even redder with rage.
もう議論の余地なんかねえぜ。全てが分かってる。そうだと分かる。父さんと母さんを殺したのは誰だ？決まってるぜ。あいつだ。昨日来たとかいう魔女様に決まってる。襟首ひねり上げてやるぜ。チクショーチクショーチクショー。
ジェシカちゃん、お待ちなさい。ゴーダさん、カノ君、行って。
はい。お嬢様、お待ちを。
Covering her uncontrollable sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest who arrived yesterday, Beatrice, was suspicious. However, in that instant, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she's just another guest, no more, no less. So Rosa, making an adult decision, was forced to stop Jessica in her rash rampage. Gohda and Kanon picked up on this immediately and chased after her.
誰にも招かれなかった客人、ベアトリーチェが犯人なんだろうか。
I'm leaning more. I mean, strictly speaking, Beatrice could have done this with her magic. But we're trying to explain it with human terms. Trying to explain it how a human culprit could have done it. So right now I'm suspicious of Rosa.
ジェシカの気持ちもわかる。そう思い込みたい気持ちは俺にもある。誰でもいいから犯人ってことにして横っ面をぶっ飛ばしてやりたい気持ちがある。だがその前にはっきりと理解する必要がある。
And the bopping music is still going on.
ベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだ、俺は顔すら見てねえぜ。
Ooh.
顔ならお屋敷に大きな肖像画で飾られてたよ。あれだけ見てまだ覚えられないのかな。
なんだよマリア、こんな状況で何がおかしいよ。
ベアトリーチェは魔女なんだよ。そして黄金鏡の扉を開くための儀式がいよいよ始まったの。この6人はその生贄なんだよ。さあさあ始まるよ、魔女の宴が。今宵はハロウィン。魔女たちが今こそ祝い集う。
Happy Halloween for Maria. Wow.
その気持ち悪い声で笑うのをやめなさいっていつも言ってるでしょ。
Crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed through the high ceiling jet chapel. Ever since it started raining yesterday, no, ever since the island was swallowed by the typhoon, I felt as though something was wrong. It was bright and sunny when I arrived on Rokkenjima. Since I'd gotten up early and was sleepy, I took a nap. When I woke up, it already had started raining. And ever since that time, suddenly, a mysterious visitor, calling herself the Golden Witch, Beatrice, arrived. And it felt like I was sinking, bit by bit, into a bizarre world. The heck happened while I was snapping. Am I supposed to believe this island was sealed off in a different world, where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? is some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem. It's like our parents were figuring out about it at dinner last night. Oh, I thought this was Rosa. This is Battler. Oh, or is the culprit this witch from the Legend of the Gold, just like Maria said. Even if we set Jessica's temper aside, given the circumstances, it's probably safe to say that this visitor person is the most suspicious. Oh, we mustn't make up our minds based on that alone. Ah, it's useless. It's useless. It's all useless. I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brain before they overloaded. Even though it might have been a wasted effort.
これはおじい様の封筒。
On a tray piled with sweets that decorated the table, George and Nikki found a Western envelope that had the Shuramiya family crest done on it in gold leaf, and was unopened.
ってことは、それは俺たち宛てってことじゃねえのか。親父たちが読んだものだったなら開封されてるはずだぜ。
その推理は正解のようだよ。書いてある。残されし者たちへって。
それは犯人が残した手紙なの？
その推理は正解のようだよ。書いてある。残されし者たちへって。
中身は？
兄貴、開けようぜ。
After nodding silently, George and Nikki broke the seal. A folded letter came out.
読むよ。六軒島へようこそ。後宮家の皆様方、私は金蔵様にお仕えしております当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
Rosa. The letter was a joke. This Beatrice called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she lent grandfather along with interest. And that interest was everything grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes, and as this paragraph was being read aloud, it clearly wasn't referring to just the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that grandfather had created. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included in the interest.
ふざけやがって。なんてめちゃくちゃな契約だ。黄金の利子は命だってのかよ。そんなのまるで悪魔の契約じゃねえかよ。それで魔女気取りってわけか。笑わせやがるぜ。
特別条項ただし隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れた時、ベアトリーチェはこの権利を全て永遠に放棄しなければならない。
Rosa.
黄金の隠し場所についてはすでに金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に碑文にて公示されております。
I'm suspecting you, Rosa.
つまりこういうことだね。もしこの殺人が利子の回収行為だというなら、それを止める条件としておじい様に与えた隠し黄金を探し出してみろとこう言ってるんだよ。そしてその秘密は例の肖像画の碑文に隠されているとも言ってる。
つまりこいつは魔女様の挑戦状ってわけか。黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますとぶっ殺してやる。上等だ。つまりこいつは魔女様の挑戦状ってわけか。黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますと。
バトラ君、これ
The table was covered with sweets. So even though those things were right out in the open, you just assumed they were sweets too. I mean, come on, you see them a lot, right? You know, those boxes of chocolates shaped like gold ingots. Oh.
こりゃお菓子の箱じゃねえぞ。本物だ。こりゃ本物の金塊だ。
片翼のわしの紋章が刻印されてる。
So it's crosses.
前に母さんが話してたのを聞いた。これはおじい様の黄金伝説の金塊だよ。
Gold ingots weighing a full 10 kilograms. A whole 3 of them were piled up in the center of the table. It was where this cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family's conference. 3 bars. So it's not only Kinzo's.
これが本当に純度49のインゴットだったなら6000万円くらいの価値はある。
バカ野郎、安すぎる。俺たちの親が6人も殺されて、そこに積まれた黄金がたったの6000万円だと。
Nah, she's just egging the other survivors to say that, oh, the gold is real.
バカにするんじゃねえ。
さあ始まったね、ベアトリーチェ。どうせこの謎は誰にも解けないよ。だから絶対にベアとの勝ち。早く黄金鏡への扉を開いて、そしてマリアを連れてって。
This is hard. Again, starting. It's complicated.
お嬢様、どうか気をお静めください。
誰が犯人かはまだ分かりませんぞ。それにベアトリーチェ様は親方様の大切な賓客です。
だからなんだってんだ。本人の胸ぐらひねり上げてやれば白状するに決まってるぜ。目を見ればわかるんだよ。私が見破ってやる。何が魔女だ、ベアトリーチェだ。化けの皮を剥いでやる。
Jessica never stopped moving. Gohda and Kanon chased after her, doing their best to convince her to stop. Jessica never lent them an ear. Eventually, the witch's VIP room came into view. This VIP room was always sealed and never used. No matter what kind of guests came, Kinzo wouldn't let them in here. And yet, the servants were always made to clean this room so that it could be used at any time. So the servants had started calling this room the witch's VIP room after their second shapeless master. Jessica knew about this too, and she couldn't forgive the arrogance of the one who called herself a witch for staying in that room. The Golden Witch was just a fairy tale. Come on, a witch? To Jessica, she was nothing more, nothing less than a murderer who had brutally killed her parents. Question her, hear her pitiful excuses, make her splutter in pain, gasp in anguish. No matter how hard she pretends to be a witch, I'll teach her that she's just a stinking, sweaty human. As Jessica yelled with all her strength, it hit the door to the VIP room. She's not... Definitely wasn't a knock. That sound was the beating of her anger's hammer, as if she was determined to break the door down if it wasn't opened. There was no answer. Jessica grabbed the doorknob without reservation. She felt the resistance of the lock. She turned around to look at the 2 servants and spoke.
ここマスターキーで開くんでしょ。開けて。
お嬢様、それは大変な失礼にあたります。
Although Gohda was flustered, he still tried to somehow calm Jessica's anger. After hanging his head silently for a while, Kanon pulled a master key from his jacket pocket.
カノンさん、いいんですか？
もしおられたなら無礼になるのは承知です。それにもしベアトリーチェ様が何の関係もないというなら、それを僕たちに釈明して納得させればいい。
そうだぜ、その通りだ。借りるぜ。
Jessica snatched the master key from Kanon's hands and violently shoved it into the keyhole. Immediately there was a small sound and she felt the lock click. And without asking permission, she flung the door open.
ベアトリーチェ！どこだ？出てこい！
Jessica rudely stepped into the room, which wasn't anywhere to be seen.
くそったれ！いねえぜ！どこ行きやがった！
お姿がありませんね。
Jessica, thinking she might be hiding somewhere inside the room, peeked behind the curtains and under the bed, but she couldn't find anyone. However, there were definitely signs that the bed had been used, and though it was only a vague sense, the atmosphere in the room felt a little soft. It wasn't the hard atmosphere of a place normally devoid of people like in the chapel. You could definitely tell that someone had spent the night in this room. She could not be seen. In reality, neither Jessica nor Gohda had met Beatrice. They had only been told by those who had met her that she looked like a double of the character in that portrait. So they were doubtful about what her face really looked like. However, Kanon alone had met her. He understood what kind of being that witch was, what kind of personality she had. So he knew that by forcing their way in here and search for her definitely wouldn't work out. She must be watching us bitterly flail about. In vain. She must be watching us bitterly flail about in vain, from somewhere, sneering at us. She's that kind of person. Because he was looking at things that way, Kanon was the first one to find it. The other two were concentrating on finding the shadow of a person, so they didn't notice. Another letter. Near a water jug on the side table, there was a single sheet of letter paper. On it was a short message, and nearby was a fountain pen, which had probably been used to write it. Kanon had already come to understand the witch. After finding the corpses, they'd been overcome with rage. They'd been overcome by rage and barged in here, only to find no one. So of course the witch would mock them. You can't mock someone unless they know they're being mocked. So in other words, that's what this must be.
お嬢様、ここに何か書かれています。
書かれてるってなんだ？
Jessica dashed over and violently snatched a piece of paper away. She probably wasn't trying to be violent. She just couldn't control her strength right now.
だと？なめやがって！
As soon as she read the message, Jessica went into a wild rage, crumpled the paper up, and threw it. Then she grabbed the light stand beside it by the bedside and violently swung it around, mercilessly hitting the walls and furniture with it. The light bulbs all shattered at once, and the fragments were scattered across the room.
お嬢様、気をお沈めください。お怪我をなさいます。
離せよ！畜生！畜生！出てきやがれ、ベアトリーチェ！よくも父さんと母さんを！そんなに私が怖えかよ！殺してやる！殺してやる！ぶっ殺してやるから姿を現しやがれ！だから離せって言ってんだろ！くそー！
This was written on the paper. Yep, as I expected, Jessica would freak the fuck out. Not see
私
died.
がぬくぬくとここであなたが飛び込んでくるのを待ちぼうけるとでも？
Oh.
知的な夜に粗暴なるあなたは似合わない。こんな間抜けに育てた親はどんな顔？
Oh wow. She knew that Jessica would come. Wow.
見たよ。本当にそっくりな間抜け面。今はお菓子の国でお腹いっぱい。
It was the sort of thing that a witch could write. It meant that she predicted one of the children who'd lost their parents would come running in here. Yeah, that letter was vague enough. But if she's hiding somewhere in this room, she must be rolling around laughing now. Which was that kind of person. She sneered at people's misfortunes, using it to stave off the boredom of 1,000 years.
これはお渡しください。お怪我をなさいますと申し上げております。
話せって言ってたよ。くそくそ。
Gohda snatched away the light stand that Jessica had been holding. After all, if she kept swinging it around, she might end up smashing it against something which could cause serious injury. To Gohda's eyes, Jessica probably looked mad with rage, burning herself up with the flames of anger. But Kanon's eyes saw it differently. She's sad. Those were probably tears of sadness hidden by rage. So, the light stand was taken from Jessica, and she started crying on the floor, scratching at the carpet, almost as though she was groveling. Gohda was surprised, but Kanon was not. Of course, she had lost her means of crying by lashing out in rage. Considering that she was the daughter of the Urshirmiya head family, she was in a very shabby state. She scratched at the carpet with her fingernails, and even her feet was scratching. Jessica cried very, very hard, because if she didn't, her rage would start building up again and swallow her up. But over and over again, she remembered that humiliating message. I can only imagine what her parents who raised you to be such a moron must have looked like.
私なんかとは違う。本当に頭が良かった。悪くなんかじゃない。取り消せ。取り消せ。
Alright, I saw them. They looked just as moronic as you. Now their bellies are full in the land of sweets.
殺してやる。殺してやる。野郎の腹を裂いて同じ目に遭わせてやる。
As Jessica cried and screamed, she triggered an asthma attack. Servants watching over her hurriedly ran up to her and rubbed her back. That only provoked Jessica's wrath.
そんなことする気場があったらあいつを探せよ。探し出して私のところへ連れてこい。お前らが行かないなら私が探す。そしてこの手で殺してやる。腹を引き裂いてやる。触るんじゃねえぜ。畜生。畜生。
Jessica got up unsteadily, and as her asthma attack continued, she went out in the hallway.
お嬢様、お薬を至急。南條先生をお呼びします。
ゴーダさん、僕に任せてくれませんか。
Kanon had noticed. Gohda, who was vastly separate from her in age, probably couldn't sense the tears in Jessica's heart. Kanon, who had noticed, had to be the one to support her.
カノンさん、いいのですか。
今のお嬢様には涙を流す時間も必要なのだと思います。ご両親のあんな死に方を目の当たりにしては。
そうですね。
Gohda also understood, and he knew that Jessica and Kanon all had shared a vague relationship with each other. So he understood everything and left it to Kanon.
わかりました。私はローザ様のところへ戻ります。五条様をくれぐれもよろしくお願いしますよ。
はい、お任せを。
Kanon's voice was frail, but he nodded firmly. After looking at his eyes, Gohda nodded firmly as well. Gohda was a veteran with many years behind him. He'd seen a great number of people in his life, so he knew the vigorous sparkle that could be found in the eyes of those who possessed self-control. He had surely seen that in Kanon's eyes, so he would leave this to Kanon. When you think about it, maybe this was the first time Gohda ever trusted Kanon and relied him for a job. Jessica, still suffering from her asthma, seemed to be heading towards her room, though she kept leaning against the wall. Kanon followed her wordlessly. If she had asked for a hand, he would have leapt forward and supported her. But until Jessica did ask for that, he chose to hide himself, watching over her from a distance, where he could come to her rescue at any time. When people feel their hearts are about to explode from sadness and want to have someone by their sides, you can bet 10 billion of them would want to turn around and find someone in the place Kanon now stood, as he watched over Jessica from behind. Then finally she doubled in front of the door to her room. The asthma attack had stolen all her strength, and her thoughts had gotten hazy from the lack of oxygen, making it impossible to even stand up again. But right then, Jessica didn't think she wanted someone to lend a hand. She still hadn't been able to overcome the flames of anger. Even if someone had offered her hands with the good intentions, Jessica would have wanted to tear it off right then. She knew how unfair that would be, so she definitely wouldn't ask for help until she overcame that fiery anger burning inside. Jessica had probably lost the willpower to even call for help. Kanon heard it. He definitely heard it. Kanon definitely heard a voiceless call for help, one shared by miserable grieves the world around, an endless scream that no one ever seems to hear. Kanon quietly knelt by Jessica's side and wordlessly offered her a shoulder. Though Jessica kept coughing painfully, she accepted it, unlocking the door to her room and entered.
こちらへ。今、お薬をご用意します。
Jessica often said that when her asthma got serious enough, it hurt so bad that it felt like she'd vomit up her whole stomach. I had a past pulmonary disease that I coughed so much that I would vomit all my lunch, all my dinner. Every time I ate, I would cough until I vomited. Even when I wasn't eating, I would cough so badly that I lurched everything, even if I didn't eat. I don't know how I survived, actually. Her face was pale and her gaze wavered, and yet the coughing continued. Thankfully, there wasn't any blood in my coughing, but still, I coughed so hard, so intensely, like for a very prolonged period, like 5 to 10 minutes of pure coughing. I don't know how my lungs survived that. Even so, her sadness was probably even stronger. After having her sit on the bed, Kanon took a bronchodilatator from a cute little basket on a nearby side table and handed it to her. Jessica sometimes forgot to take her medicine with her. Whenever this seemed to have happened, Kanon would take notice and secretly carry around the inhaler from the first aid kit in the servant's room, but he hadn't done so today. He scolded himself, as though wondering how he could call himself furniture after failing to bring it with him on a day like this. Then he remembered the day that he'd used that word and somehow betrayed Jessica's feelings. It jarred Kanon's heart. He felt like he would be indiscreet to think about something like this. Something like that, considering how Jessica felt now, and he locked it up inside the depths of his heart. When she inhaled her medicine, Jessica's wild breathing calmed down bit by bit, and she was finally able to regain her composure. Yeah, I actually used that for a brief amount of time. A brief, more like 2 months, when I dealt with that disease. It was on 2016, I guess, when I had that. So, man, that was the most painful period in my life. 2 months of pure suffering. But she'd lost too much strength and willpower to get up from the bed. Ah, Jessica. I feel sorry for Jessica, man.
大丈夫ですかお嬢様
私は大丈夫だぜ
Still, I feel more detached right now from now that I know that things can loop back when people are still alive. It's the same feeling I had with Higurashi. Still, it's not like it detracts from the story, it's just that I feel more detached.
父さんと母さんはダメだけど私はもうちょっとなきゃ大丈夫だぜ
But I'm still very I'm still very invested in the drama and the character relationships. So, but I still, Rudolph and Kyrie died again. Wow, Battler can't catch a break. I guess Cross died again. Kanon regretted his poor choice of words. Did he really say, "Are you alright?" to her? Yeah, that wasn't. Was he really that clueless of the pain of the pain in her heart? This was what made him furniture. This was why he couldn't become human.
廊下におります。ご用がありましたらすぐにお呼びください。
Kanon understood that she still needed some time to cry alone. Would this track? He told her to call him anytime. Bowed and tried to leave the room. Come on, she wants you here.
何か
Come on, Kanon. You're not furniture, man. You can understand this. She wants to be together with you right now. She doesn't want to be alone. Jessica had spoken up as though she wanted him to stop, so Kanon had stopped. If she asked it, I'd do anything I can to help her. Right now, I'd become even a cane or a chair if it would help ease the pain in her heart. If by doing that I could make up for the pain I dealt to her heart on that day. For a while, Jessica stared into Kanon's eyes. It was as though her reason for stopping him was something that she couldn't put into words. For a while, neither spoke. Jessica broke that silence with a small voice.
ごめん何でもないぜ
No, come on, stay with her. Come on, come on.
しばらく一人になりたいってロザおばさんに伝えてくれるかな
一人にはしません。
Oh, yes, yes. Chad mover right there.
あなたを僕は一人にしない。
Yes, yes, yes. This is the start of Chad Kanon. Come on, come on, come on. You're going to...
だから廊下にいます。いつでも呼んでください。
Oh, for just an instant, it looked like some kind of hope had flitted into Jessica's eyes. but it was very faint and disappeared like the first snow on the surface of a river.
ありがとな心理学的。
はい、失礼します。
Kanon bowed once again and closed the door. Ooh, he thought those words of his would give her some courage, but now it felt as though they actually hurt her for some reason. Why? Because she didn't want you standing in the corridor, man. She wanted you to stay with her. He didn't know. Surely that was because he was furniture. Come on, Kanon. I'm so invested in your character development. Come on. That was why you couldn't grasp human sadness even now. Oh, the day is coming closer. The day that Kanon... As Kanon repeatedly questioned himself, he walked down the corridor. He felt like the window at the corridor's end was coolly calling to him. Oh man, I got scared of him.
僕はやっぱり家具でしかないのか。
It was still pouring outside, a dark gray world. Even on days like this, Shannon would surely see the ocean and know that it was blue. But to my eyes, even if it cleared up, I would only see gray. Until I can understand the blue of the ocean, I'll be nothing but furniture imitating a person. Oh.
本当に女心のわからぬやつよ。
Oh no! Oh my god! Here she comes. Kanon, my man. I'm sorry, man. Kanon. Oh, I'm sorry, Kanon. You had a great run. I'm sorry.
ああいう時は黙ってそばにいるのが正解だ。だからゆえに貴様は家具なのよ。
Ooh.
貴様。
There shouldn't have been any trace of human life in this corridor. Had been an empty corridor filled with frigid air. But those scoffing words approached Kanon from behind. When he turned around, he saw that witch who hadn't shown herself when Jessica had searched for her with a rage bordering on madness, and who had left that sneering letter to toy with Jessica.
女の傷つけ方は3つある。特別にわらわが教えてやろう。一つは刃物で傷つける。一つは心で傷つける。そして最後が一番難しく、一番効果的に傷つけられる。なのに意識せずして傷つけられる。わかるか？
わかるわけもないし、知りたくもない。
期待を裏切る。だ。女ほど夢見がちな生き物はいない。勝手に夢を見、勝手に傷つく。お前のような距離の男が一番女を傷つける。わかるまいな、貴様には。
Beatrice, you're even worse than Ava in twisting the knife.
どれほどジェシカを傷つけてきたか、全く考えが及んでいまい。家具だから。
Man, Beatrice is amazing.
たわごとに付き合う気は毛頭ない。僕を嘲笑うためだけに姿を現したというのか。
Yep, she would.
うぬぼれるな家具。貴様ごとき嘲笑うにも足りぬわ。しかしそなたも一人ではそれに値しなくても二人揃えば十分に足りる。若々しき男女の悲運を笑う喜びは何度繰り返しても飽きぬのでな。
Oh, no way. The second Twilight is going to happen. Wow.
なんだと。
She's going to kill you and Jessica. Wow.
まさか貴様。
I'm sorry, Kanon. You're so done. that face
寄り添
again.
う二人が必要なのでな。お前たち二人は実に都合が良い。
Oh my god, her voice actress is going at it.
待て、勘違いするな。僕はお嬢様とそういう関係じゃない。第二の番の生贄にはならない。
You fool. That was enough. That showing was enough for her.
だからお前はジェシカを傷つける。だからお前は人間になれぬ。ならばよいだろう。貴様がジェシカを思い人と認めぬならば、それを受け入れてもよい。
Oh.
だがジェシカは殺す。
なぜ？
このバカが決まっておろうが。殺したらそなたが歪めるだろう。その表情が楽しいからの他に何の理由が必要なのか。
That face. Wow. I knew it. Man.
儀式に従い、わらわは気まぐれに13人を生贄とする。だがそれ以上殺してはならないとの決まりはない。
She killed Nazi.
わらわが楽しければ幾人でも殺す。
Her faces.
だから殺す。わらわを思いっきり笑わせてみせろよ。カグカノン。
Wow. At that time, Kanon. That time, Kanon definitely heard Jessica scream. What's that music? When he blinked and looked at the corridor, the witch who supposedly been there so nonchalantly just a second ago was gone. At that moment, he was just standing there, all alone in the corridor, doing nothing. And the person he wanted to protect was asking for help from far away in that direction. It was obvious what he should do. It wasn't logical. It was an electric reflex. Without a trace of hesitation or distraction. It was a person he wanted to protect, and she was asking for help. And at that moment, he genuinely wanted that person. And he genuinely wanted the person by her side to be him. When he flew into Jessica's room, the scene that greeted his eyes was a bizarre one. The room had become a fantastical world where a blizzard of gold-colored specks danced, almost as though gold leaf had been scattered inside the snow globe. No, that's not it. I've seen this spectacle before. This isn't gold leaf. It's countless golden butterflies, Beatrice's minions. Jessica was surrounded by countless butterflies, waving her hands around, trying to frankly drive them away.
お嬢様。
カノン君、助けて。
Oh, acting again. Kanon rushed towards Jessica and violently brushed the cloud of butterflies away. Butterflies, which were sickening despite their beauty, surrounded Jessica's face, trying to crawl through her mouth and nose. Wow. Oh, that's disgusting. Jessica choked violently, almost as though the butterflies were triggering an asthma attack, mocking her. But when Kanon ran towards her, the butterflies stopped attacking and began to dance an elegant rondo around the pair.
大丈夫。僕の目の黒いうちはあなたに誰の指一本触れさせたりするものか。出てこい、ベアトリーチェ。これで満足か。
As he stood guard in front of Jessica, who was using her inhaler and seemed to be in pain, Kanon yelled into the empty air. And when he did, the empty air did indeed laugh back, satisfied. Ooh. Then she showed herself. It wasn't in response to Kanon's demands. Oh, she's not wearing a dress. was obviously because appearing and sneering would bring them even more humiliation, and plus was more fun.
これで全ては筋書き通りよ。今やそなたは相乗の恋よな。いや、二人が揃ったのだから鴨とネギと呼ぶべきか。
お下がりください、お嬢様。僕が守る。
姫に騎士が揃わば魔女が現れるのは必然よ。どれ、金蔵の家具がどの程度の力を持つか見せてもらおうではないか。
Oh, she snapped her fingers with a piercing sound. When she did, a blizzard of gold butterflies was stirred up and began to form a small mountain as they whirled around in a circle. It was just like the swirling of a cold wintry wind that builds up a mountain of leaves. From that mound of gold a hand sprouted and it appeared, as though a resident of the world below was crawling from beneath the ground. Jessica could not comprehend what she was seeing right now, and her mouth kept flapping open and closed. It was the bite of wisdom, seen in those trying to understand something incomprehensible. Oh, Kanon, you're done. Oh man, it's like a goat demon or something like that. Man, it's quite muscular. That thing crawling up was probably an attendant who served the witch. Appeared to be wearing an uniform suitable for one who served, but its face was wrong. Man, it has a butler's outfit as well. It looks strange. It was covered in pitch black hair, breathed rotten breath, and its eyes were filled with the same strange subterranean glow as lava. And to symbolize its non-human status, it had two horns. Yeah, a goat demon. Come on. It was the figure of a goat-faced attendant who served the witch. Man, she has the power to summon people. Wow. By now, Jessica had no idea what she should say. Should say. All this happening in front of her couldn't be explained with common sense, and she couldn't do anything except open and close her mouth. Yeah, the magic system isn't well explained as of now, so I have no idea what's happening. Jessica hadn't realized that this island had already been cut off from the rules of our world. But there were some things even she could understand. This goat attendant served the witch and was after her life. And apparently, the witch had already given it the order. She was looking at Kanon with an expectant gaze. She looked at him with an expectant and therefore challenging gaze, as though asking him how he intended to protect this maiden. Though the attendants had looked especially bestial while crawling into its feet, you could see the way it carried itself, that it possessed more than enough grace to be worthy of serving the Golden Witch. And you could tell that it was overflowing with the joy of furniture, wanting to meet its master's expectations.
見せてもらおうではないか。金蔵の家具の力を。今度は間違えるの？家具であることを忘れるな。この後に及んで人間のふりを続けるのなら、死ぬのはお前だけでは済まぬぞ。
Are we really going to have an epic battle right here? The Gohda attendant made what it seemed to be a silent, respectful bow. Was it directed at its master, or was it offered to Kanon, its opponent? Then, in the attendant's hand, a blade of wicked malice appeared. Oh, Kanon. Wow. Wow. That's not a blade, that's a plasma sword. Jessica had been unable to understand what was happening before her eyes for a while now. All she understood was that this glow in front of her existed for the purpose of ending her life. And right now, that was enough. Kanon spoke quietly to Jessica, who was hiding behind his back.
お嬢様、壁に下がっていてください。背中は決して壁から離さないように。
姫君はおとなしく騎士殿の背中に隠れているがいい。自らの命を男に守らせる醍醐味でも存分に味わえばよい。
Beatrice doesn't stop, does she?
さあ、カノン、お前の刃を見せてみよ。
I thought. Okay. Okay, Kanon, let's look at your mighty blade. And he has it as well. What the fuck is happening? What is happening here? I have no clue.
美しい。
Man, I thought this was a mystery novel, not a fantasy action one.
金蔵は家具を生み出すことに関してだけはわらわの足元に及ぶやもしれぬ。
こんなもの、バラの手入れにも使えない。
I thought this was a mystery novel, not a fantasy action.
カノン君。
Look at this, he's already saying a thing like this can't be used to trim the roses.
それは
見せたくなかった。
Okay.
よくぞ抜いたぞ。思いを寄せる女の前で己が人間以下の存在であることを晒した気分はどんなものよ。
黙れ。
Scanchi also has a sword. Maybe Shannon as well.
憤怒で己を焦がしているくせに冷静を
Or maybe
装
only Kanon has it.
う。なるほど。真に熱き炎は青く静かだという。
But last episode, didn't Kanon just pick up an axe instead of instead of having an energy sword?
今のそなたがそうだというのか。
僕の力でお前を殺すことなどできるわけもない。お前は月、石つぶてを投げたとて月を砕くことなどできるわけもない。だがお前は権限するために水面にその姿を映す。水面に石つぶてを投じれば一時月を乱すこともできるかもしれない。しかし月を砕くことなど至らない。だから僕はこの命尽きるまでお前の映る水面を叩き続けてやる。
気に入ったぞカノン。始めろ家具ども。
His broadsword is bigger and girthier than your sword, Kanon. I'm sorry. Oh my god. It's not like this. I'm laughing because this is bad, but I'm laughing because this is actually amazing.
美しい奇跡だ。
I didn't realize that this was going to happen. I'm sorry. The witch's words of admiration broke the silence, and just for an instant they broke Jessica's paralysis.
私は夢を見てるの。
Nah. Jessica, please remember the power that made you a magical girl in the first place. Come on, transform. Now, come on, Do a transformation sequence. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for magical girl Jessica. Come on.
魔女の家具め、元来た地獄へ叩き落としてやる。
Oh. Oh.
Run!
Man, this is amazing. I didn't expect this would happen. Oh. A strand of red had been left on Kanon's cheek. The witch saw this and grinned broadly.
勘が戻らぬことを言い訳につぶやいてもよいぞ。
So they do this in the Gossel house?
しっかり。
大丈夫。僕はまだ死なない。
Man. Ooh. Did she die? Did he die? The curve drawn by the Gohda attendee's blade drew a larger arc in space. Did he die? Kanon wasn't there. He was behind it. Ooh, nothing personelll, kiddo. Nothing personelll, kid. Nothing.
先に帰りて。主の帰りを待つがいい。
Kanon, a round of applause. Come on. Ooh. Nothing personelll, kid. If this battle of drawing sparking curves was chess, then Kanon coming from behind was check. And press and press and press. Use 7 moves and make it mate. Perhaps the Gohda attendee hadn't been granted the ability to go into the death throes. As its knees buckled and fell over, it broke into a bunch of gold butterflies with a pop. Kanon defeated the goat. So there was no sound of it hitting the ground. This feels like I'm reading Fate Stay Night again. Even those unable to understand this battle surely realized that Kanon had been magnificent. Yep, this feels like I'm reading Fates.
ハンドメイドには勝てぬか。そこまで見下げたものではないらしい。
次はお前だ。ベアトリーチェ!
But I guess I was more prepared for Fate than I was prepared for this twist. But I'm sorry, Kanon, you're not going to. The instant Kanon's blade sliced diagonally through the witch's form like a knife through butter, she turned to gold and burst. She scattered into several thousand gold butterflies, and for just an instant, the room was filled with the color of twilight. It was just as Kanon himself had said. Slicing Beatrice was just the same as slicing the surface of the water, where the moon was reflected. The witch's form, with an ordinary expression on its face, as though she'd been there the whole time, was right behind Kanon. Nothing personelll, kid.
十分に面白い見せ物であったぞ。それに免じ見逃してやろうかと思ったが、今の無礼で気が変わった。
The voice.
嘘をつくな。お前にお嬢様を殺させはしない。たとえそれが無理でも、僕より先に殺させはしない。
お前にはそれすらできぬわ。喋るな家具が。無口であれ家具が。身の程を知れ家具が。
カノン君は家具なんかじゃない。
ほう、なぜそう言えるのか。
理由なんかいらない。カノン君はカノン君だよ。本当の名前は別にあるけれど、それでも名前は家具じゃない。カノン君にはカノン君の生き方がある。それはとても高潔なもので、自らが決めるもの。家具だから意見しちゃいけないとか、家具だから自分の人生を持っちゃいけないとか、そんなのないよ。
お嬢様、あいつを挑発してはいけません。
はっきり言っておくぜ。カノン君は家具じゃない、人間だよ。どうして？カノン君は自分の意志で私を助けに駆けつけてくれた。そして恐ろしい魔女であるあんたの前に立ちはだかってくれた。私を見捨てることなんていくらでもできてたろうに、そうしなかった。自己犠牲は人間だけが持つ高潔な精神だ。だからカノン君は人間なんだ。だから訂正しろ。カノン君を家具だなんて呼ぶな、二度と。
But I'm sorry, Jessica. Self-sacrifice isn't only a human quality. Do you know who else has that quality? Some species of ants, some species of bees, some species of bees, some species of ants. They sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the colony. So not... Sorry to put a damper on that whole speech. But right now I am evil and I'm on Beatrice's side, so...
語るな人間が。とっとと終わらせよう。何しろまだまだ第二の番。
Yep.
互いの尊厳を認め合う寄り添いし二人を今こそ生贄に捧げよ。さあさあおいでなさい。罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。色欲。
The witch summoned her furniture, with a mixture of laughter and anger on her face.
色欲のアスモデウス。
Oh, okay. Okay. She's wearing a leotard. I approve. I approve. I approve of this character. I approve.
ここに。
茶番は飽きた。第二の番を速やかに遂行せよ。
It was her that I saw on the opening, and I was very intrigued.
わらわに瞬きを三つも許すな。
仰せのままに。
また妙なのが出やがったぜ。
It took Kanon less than an instant to understand that goat face from a second ago had been nothing more than a pawn to the witch. However, this newly summoned furniture was a game piece with a vastly different value. It's like a...
素敵な獲物に恵まれるなんて、なんて幸運なのかしら。
Is that a garter belt? Maybe? I approve. I approve.
怯えてる？かわいい。
The character designer has good tastes. Is a cultured man.
魔女の家具、お前には殺されない。
Ryukishi is a man of culture.
私の姿を追うこともできないノロマのくせに生きがって。
Oh, her voice.
行くわよ。ねえねえ、どこがいい？どこを貫いてほしい？お答えなさいよ、かわいい子。あなたの好きなところを思い切り貫いてあげる。
Oh my god, she's an ass.
さあさあ、お答えなさいよ、かわいい子。
Ooh, I guess she's lost, I guess, so.
僕を可愛いと言うな。
Asmodeus.
行くわよ、ノルマ。
That's
さあ追ってごらん、その節穴で。
Ooh, her voice. Oh, ooh, nothing personal, kid. Do I have to calculate power levels now? Oh, oh shit! Did Jessica block it? Yep.
目では追えなかったけどよ、読みは当てたぜ。
Jessica. To have her die just so Kanon can suffer, man.
さまあ見やがれ。
So Jessica dies right here. Wow. She survived until the end last time. Kanon's back had been the target, but Jessica had predicted it. She predicted that the witch's target would be the complete opposite of fair and honest, his back. She had no way to block it. She hadn't planned on it being some act of self-sacrifice. She just couldn't think of any other way to protect Kanon's back. So she could do nothing but block it with her own back. Furniture of the witch, which had changed its form into a demon's stake, was buried deep into Jessica's back. It was an obviously fatal wound that had reached as far as her lungs. When she saw this, the witch let out a loud, evil laugh. Oh, this is what she wants to see. Because it had hit where the witch had predicted. Everything was as the witch had predicted.
どうしたカノン？ジェシカお嬢様はお前より先には殺されなかったんじゃないのか？そうそう、それその顔よ。お前のその顔が見たかった。
Oh, the voice.
楽しんだ、実に十分。もうよい、死ね笑わせろ。
Oh, I knew it. Kanon, you were done the moment. Well, you were so done the moment she arrived in this mansion.
さあさあおいでなさい。罪を許しなさい。煉獄の七杭が一つ。ふんど。
I need to rewind this again.
そうそう、それその顔よ。お前のその顔が見たかった。
Oh, you...
楽しんだ、実に十分。もうよい、死ね笑わせろ。
Oh, you can see the glee, actual genuine glee at that.
フンドのサタン。
Oh. Okay, I approve.
ここに。
その獲物はお前のものだ。今すぐ食らって、こやつの舞台に幕を下ろしてやれ。人ならば交番とも言おうが、家具のお前の場合は、大道具係が舞台裏に運び出すといったところか。
僕はもう家具じゃない。そしてそれを二度と疑わない。
なーに？あんたまた私に殺されちゃうの？あんたの胸温かくて本当に貫くと気持ちがいいのよ。さあまた味合わせて。あなたの温かい胸の中で熱い熱い血潮で私を思いっきり気持ちよくして。
Man, this is hard. Oh, nothing personal. Oh man, I'm sorry, Kanon. Maybe we'll see you next episode. I'm sorry. There was no way to block it. The sound of a woodpecker filled the entire room, and before he could blink, it was already right in the center of his chest. When you take a piece in chest, the rules say it's impossible for your opponent's piece to defend itself. So this was an obvious result in accordance with the rules. Kanon landed on his knees, and he apologized, not to the witch, not to Milady. He apologized to Jessica. I can't cry right here, come on. Man, this episode was a roller coaster. I was really creeped out by the whole chapel gory scene. Then I got my hype up with the fights, and now I'm sad again. Kanon finally fell over, landed next to Jessica. The two lay there like the constellation Gemini. In his last moments, Kanon wanted to tell her his real name, but Jessica had already fallen into a sleep from which she would never wake. Oh, Beatrice must be gloating. So Kanon's real name, which he had protected until today, in the end he couldn't tell it to Jessica. Those were the last words Kanon left behind.
笑せるな家具が。100年を経ようと家具は家具よ。捨てるときに家具のために墓穴を掘るバカがどこにいる？家具は叩き割って薪にして、後には灰しか残らぬわ。そういうことよ。家具に刻める墓碑などない。貴様は死ねばこれ以上の屈辱を受けることがないと信じてるようだが、それは甘いぞ。死者を恥ずかしめるというのがどういうものか、わらわが教えてやろうぞ。
Man, her faces have been amazing. After taking a puff from her pipe, the witch breathed the smoke at Kanon's corpse. Wow. When she did, Kanon's corpse softly floated up into the air and disappeared as though it had been eaten by a mouth in empty space. The witch played dirty until the very end. Corpses of the pair who managed to understand each other in the end were not even permitted to be close. If someone had been watching, they would probably say mournfully, "So this is what you meant by disgracing the dead." However, Beatrice was far crueler than that. The reason for that would soon become apparent. So there's no body for Kanon. And then they're going to blame Kanon. That's what I'm thinking. Oh.
So ka.
I'm tired. I'm done for now. I've been played with my emotions too much this episode. Oh, and here we have all the characters. Welcome, Maria. Happy Halloween. Corpse found inside the chapel. The direct cause of death is unknown, but it seems his stomach was cut open and his intestines were pulled out after his death. Additionally, sweets and candies were packed into his stomach. Welcome, Maria. Happy Halloween. See, didn't I tell you? Bellies are full of candy. Everyone has a belly that's filled with sweet dreams. A belly could never be full of disgusting things. That's why we want to be simple and sweet, like candy. So this dreamland is for you. Happy Halloween. So right now it's Beatrice who's telling that. This is hard. I don't have any theories right now. Right now I'm suspecting Rosa. But Rosa couldn't have killed Jessica afterwards. So maybe Gohda. Gohda could have killed Jessica. And Kanon. Maybe a combination of Rosa, Gohda, and Nanjo as culprits, maybe. Right now, I can't suspect a dead person because of Beatrice is leaving the faces intact. Of course, Battler didn't verify their deaths, left it all to Nanjo again, so couldn't be too sure about that. But let's go with ranking the characters. Beatrice. You took the top spot right now. Right now you're in the top spot. You were amazing as expected and crushed Kanon to oblivion. Yep. Battler, second place. He was really great this episode because he really is mad. And that he promised he would kill Beatrice in the worst way possible. So that was really good. Maria, yes, Maria is good. Maria is still good. Rosa jumped. Rosa is still in S rank, right? Yeah. Right now Rosa is ahead of Bernkastel because Bernkastel hasn't really had any screen time, but yeah, Rosa's good. Then to finish S rank we have Bernkastel, but she still hasn't appeared, so I don't know where she is, or she'll remain on the extras, like on the tea parties or whatever. I don't know how it's going to be yet. Then who do we have? Top of A rank. Kanon, my boy, you had your screen time, you had your development. My boy, right now you're on top of A rank. Congratulations, Kanon. Ava, yes, Ava is good. Even though she's dead, she's still good. Rudolph is good, even though he's dead twice in a row without any screen time for the poor guy. Why? Why can't I have a Rudolph in my life? Kyrie as well. Why can't I have a Kyrie in my life? Why does she and Rudolph have to die? All episode 1, episode 2, they don't have screen time anymore. Come on. I need them to survive in the next episodes if they are going to be there. Come on. Can't kill them 3 times in a row, can you? in the first Twilight at least. So yeah, the trinity of siblings here. And finishing with Nasi, still strong in A rank. I can never get tired of them when they are on screen. So their performances are great. Their personalities are entertaining as hell. So I can't never get enough of them. So yeah, I wish for more Nasi. I wish for more Ava. I wish for more Rudolph and Hirei screen time. So I'll keep that. And finishing off with Shannon. Not much. She's still here in A rank. And now B rank. Jessica. Jessica was good. Jessica was great. Still not entirely amazing. But still that she did the right thing this episode, which was protecting Kanon. At least she did what she had to do. And I applaud her for that. She did a lot of bad things on episode 1 that I didn't agree with concerning Maria. But now she did the right thing concerning Kanon, so she's alright in my book right now. I'd say Genji. So Kumasawa is still alive. So Genji, Kumasawa, and yeah. Starting C rank. I don't know. Maybe Kinzo again. Top of C rank. Ryoshi, Nanjo, Gohda, yeah. Still the usual suspects. I guess I could throw in George. I've made my peace with his character right now, so I made my peace with him, so I'll just agree to ignore his actions from now on. Concerning Shannon, at least. It's just it's because I'm so invested that I get a little bit more concerned than I should. So right now I made my peace with George, but he's still not the greatest character for me. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.